It's time for Media Watch now. James Creedon is with us here in the studio. And James, you're talking about one of our top stories tonight. That is the prospect of Britain leaving the European Union. It could happen. It's unlikely, according to the polls, but it could happen. Parliament today has been debating whether or not to hold a referendum. Should Britain remain a member of the European Union by 2017? Still no result on that vote yet.
That's right. So it's becoming more concrete, this referendum, and as opposed to just campaigning talk during the general election. Just a couple of items in the British media about this. On Bloomberg.com, Brexit, as it's come to be known, the Brexit campaign may have more success if it's not led by UKIP. Now, what this analysis is saying is if a cross-party coalition, including Labour Eurosceptics, Conservative backbenchers and others, form an alliance to vote in or to call it for a British exit of the EU, it would have more support probably, or it would generate more support than the alternative of just the United Kingdom Independence Party,
which
or
is
UKIP
interesting if you think about it, because UKIP MEPs are basically campaigning to get rid of their own jobs.
That's right.
Which I've always found quite
Maybe they're
amusing.
ready to fall on their own swords.
Yeah.
But in any case, it does appear, according to one poll conducted by the think tank British Future, that 70% of voters are actually undecided. So a broad coalition or a broad campaign in favour of an exit could really work, especially if it's headed, as one suggestion has it, by, for example, a member of the Labour Party. So that would look far more respectable than somebody from UKIP.
And it's interesting, isn't it, that the Prime Minister that's overseeing this referendum doesn't actually want to leave the European Union at all.
This is it. So I mean, it's
got himself in a bit of a bind there on Cameron, hasn't it?
Situation. And another article on this, this time from the very much pro-European Open. It's the Open Europe think tank. David Cameron's EU negotiation strategy must focus on alternative to even closer union, they're saying. So if we are talking about renegotiation, it should also include the prospect of closer union. I'm not sure that's really the point,
He might have a tough time selling that to his backbenchers.
That's right. But 11 proposed reforms, including one possibility would be coming back to a twin speed approach, or a two-speed approach, which is just, I suppose, recognising the realities of a Europe that functions on multiple levels. So certainly
Britain not the only
spectrum.
Eurosceptic country.
Certainly not, but the most prominent one, I suppose.
Absolutely.
And a big debate ahead.
Let's talk about a story here in France then. We talked about this recently. Authorities dismantling refugee camps. It's been happening in Calais. It's also been happening right here in Paris. And there's been a lot of criticism of how the government's gone about this.
That's right. I suppose the images certainly were not media friendly in terms of the government communications, and even today there have been people demonstrating at the site of where that evacuation took place with signs such as this one, Hollande, shame on you, even in English, so clearly with a view to getting that message out to the world's media as well. So you did see images of people seeking asylum being bundled into buses, and it was all quite emotional.
They have been
Match,
living under bridges, as you see right
that's
here.
Right.
Intense.
That's right, intense, as Paris Match show in this photo essay. They've been kind of profiling it.
Good advert for the company that makes those tents.
Exactly. They're getting lots of free advertising. But that has been a very emotive issue for quite a while. And I suppose the way in which it was dealt with kind of quite a strong-arm police tactics, it did get a lot of people on the left wing of politics, such as Pierre Laurent and others, saying that they were revolted by Manuel Valls' behaviour. Even the left-wing magazine, the left-leaning newspaper Libération said, look, that the riot police being involved in the dismantling of this camp was not very humane or firm, as the government said it would be, which actually evokes the headline on the front page of Libération, going back to 1996 when there was a similar operation, this time conducted by a right-wing government, and a lot of people saying, well, you know, is this the behaviour you would expect of a socialist government?
Manuel Valls has been criticised for clearing camps of Roms before, hasn't he? So
that's right, and I suppose the Socialist Party made a lot of political hay in criticising Nicolas Sarkozy for these strong-arm tactics of dismantling camps when he was in power, and so I suppose some are saying now, well, this is kind of hypocritical when you were essentially doing the same thing when you come into power.
It's a tricky one.
That's right. That's a photograph of one guy in a bus saying, "Where is the European Court of Human Rights?" So that image was picked up, taken by AFP and picked up by a lot of the media.
All right, and we're going to end with something that is good news for people who spend a lot of money on therapy. Maybe they don't need to. Maybe they could just pick up a good book.
That's right. That's what some are hoping in any case. This is an article in the New Yorker, is reading the new therapy. They call it bibliotherapy, Laura. Regular readers sleep better, have lower stress levels, higher self-esteem and lower rates of depression than non-readers. I'm wondering, does that include flitting between one article or tweet and another on your smartphone?
Books, James, not your tablets and smartphones.
Unfortunately, that is the premise of this article, and it's not self-help books either. It's fiction, and you even have bibliotherapists, book therapists.
Escapism.
That's right, and they're saying that fiction
form
offers you a transformational experience. But apparently, there's more and more books, but people are reading fewer and fewer of those books. It's kind of a decreasing pool of books. So the idea is, go to a bibliotherapist. They'll tell you what kind of books to read.
Oh, you go to a therapist. Oh, right, yeah. So
it'll transform your life, and you'll be insanely happy.
All right, or you can just go to a library.
Not insane at all.
All right, or a bookshop. Lovely. James, thank you very much indeed. James Creedon there.